G'day guys, Brad here, and we're doing the round four review of the Bendigo Football League games that were played on the weekend. The round four was the Pat Cronin Foundation round. We'll get to that game a little bit later. It's Kangaroo Flat versus Gisborne, but we'll start with Kyneton versus Maryborough. That was played at the Kyneton Showgrounds. Uh, Kyneton gets their first win for the season. Emphatic 156-point win over Maryborough. The Tigers come out of the blocks real strong, kicking the first six goals of the game to set themselves up for the day. Foreman, Summers, Quinn, Muir, they were great all day. Cameron Manuel, he was fantastic. He finished with 45 disposals, 11 inside 50s. 14 inside 50s, 11 marks, 10 clearances, 3 goals. Absolute cracker of a day for him. It's the game that Kyneton really needed to kickstart their season off. Their ball skills were excellent all day. Harrison Huntley down back in his 150th. He basically controlled that back line. I know it didn't head down there much, but every time it did, he was down there. He was the general. He got it out. It was his 150th game. I don't know in that last quarter if he made a decision or if Coach Paul Chapman made a decision, but he ended up going forward in that last quarter, kicking himself 2 goals to top off a great 150 games. Their ball skills were excellent all day, moving the ball up and down the ground. You couldn't ask for anything more. The captain oars and eels in the ruck, they were just feeding their mids all day. They dominated clearances. The big fella down forward, James Summers, kicked 5 goals. He even kicked one off unselfishly in the last quarter to give Chambers his first goal in senior football. By the end, they were just out there having a bit of fun, getting their game plan up and going, making sure that they were doing it right. They head down to Gisborne this weekend. I reckon they could come home with the 4 points. They just needed to get that one solid win. They've been building for the last 2-3 weeks, just getting that game plan going, getting their style of play that they wanted to do. It was actually good to see. So let's have a look at the highlights from that game. We'll move on to our next game, and that was the cracker down at Furlife Oval between Golden Square and South Bendigo. Square got off to a good start as they normally do, kicking the first 3 goals of the game. They did have a couple of misses. They probably could have gone in 26-point leaders at quarter time, but with them couple of misses, they only had a 14-point lead. Captain Jack kicking the first goal for Square. They looked good. I thought that they were gonna, when they kicked that first 3 goals, I thought that they were just gonna continue to push and push and push. But in that second quarter, the Bloods come out, put a bit more pressure on Golden Square, kicking 4 goals to 1. They ended up taking a 5-point lead in at half time. Both teams missed a couple of easy shots in that first half where the scores could have been a lot different. Geary, Monty and Co had great first half for Square. Miller, Poyser, Harvey, they were good for the Bloods. In that third quarter, the lead changed 3 times. It was good to watch. 9 goals kicked between the two sides. Doggies take a 1-point lead going into three-quarter time. You thought the Dogs would come out in that last quarter and start barking, start biting a little bit more, but Keck come out, big goal for South Bendigo, puts them 7 points up. Around about 3 minutes to go, Jack Geary kicks his third goal for the game. Brings it back down to 1 point. And you think, this last 2 minutes was just absolute chaos. They were just trying their hardest to move the ball. South Bendigo held on for that 1 point win. It was their first win down at Furlough Oval in about 9 years. So, it was good to actually watch that game. Let's have a look at the highlights from that game.
He's 40 from home. He centres it up, sees the target. Now Harry Burke with a chance. Gets to 52, eyes the stick, sends it long, Eaton.
McKay goes around the body. He goes to the top of the square. I reckon Harvey's put one over the shoulder. Deep into the pocket. Off hands to the back of the pack. All sharking on the footy. Rubens there offering support. Ball is only metres out. Oh, it's picked up and going around the body. I reckon they've got the second. So now it's a ball in. Harvey getting involved. Has he kicked another miracle goal out of the back?
Kick. Stewart the target. Does the roving. Can he steady and find a path to goal? He bounces it toward goal. Was it touched? Umpire says no. Hasn't had the kicking boots on today as Strubens. He curls this one home expertly. Horbury's handball infield to Haddo. Goes inside the 50 to Harvey. The Dogs. It finds Geary. 40 out. The skipper steadies and delivers.
Possession. They won't. Cameron puts it towards the boundary line and the Dogs have been defeated by the Bloods. The Bloods win the first time, as Joel said, at this ground since 2009, and what a fitting end to a super game. The Bloods.
The third game we're going to look at is Strathfield Say versus Sandhurst at Triple M Park. Bit of a wet start to the game down there. Strathfield Say got off to a pretty good start. They were moving the ball well. Got themselves a 7-point lead coming into quarter time. In that second quarter, Sandhurst started to find their feet, moving that ball around. Taking a 4-point lead into half time. Come out into that third quarter, the ball movement was a lot better by both sides. Couple of goals each. I think it was 4 goals each in that third quarter. Just before three-quarter time, Shannon Geary, a massive bump on Andy Collins. I thought that might have fired up Strathfield Say for that last quarter, but kind of backfired. It actually fired up Andy Collins and the Dragons. They ended up kicking 4-1 in that last quarter to skip away to win by 30 points. Andy Collins, big hosking the ruckman. Bryce Curnow, Walsh, Cooper, they were pressing for Sandhurst. Webb's always, Webb for Strathfield Say in defence. Mate, the way he moves the ball out of there, it's really good. Gill, Brereton, Shishka, they're in great form for the Storm. Sandhurst have a big game this weekend. They play South Bendigo at Harry Trott for the Graham Wright Memorial Cup. It's 2 versus 3. Sandhurst undefeated. South Bendigo's only lost 1 game, and after the 1-point win over Golden Square, it's going to be a real good game to go and watch. The Storm, they take on Eagle Hawk at home again at Triple M Park. So, both games are going to be a cracker this weekend. Let's have a look at the highlights from that game. fourth game we're going to look at is the game down at Dower Park. It was the Pat Cronin Foundation game between Kangaroo Flat and Gisborne. The first quarter, it was a pretty good contest. The ball was moving around a bit. Both sides looked pretty good. Gisborne took a 7-point lead into quarter time. Coming into that second quarter, Braden Blake, he was feeding his young mids, Finlakey, Webber, players like that. They moved the ball a little bit better. Took a 15-point lead coming into halftime. You think after halftime, Kangaroo Flat might come out, show a little bit more because they're starting to gel as a team. They're a young side. They've got a new coach, so he's got a new program that they're running with them. They're starting to gel, but it's taking a little bit longer. In that second half, they only kicked 1 goal to 7. Gisborne ran away with a 52-point win. They are the reigning premiers. They had a scratchy start of the season. They're starting to move. They've got a new coach, Brad Fox, a couple of new young players. So they're starting to find their feet now and actually progress a little bit further. I just want to say big congratulations to Finlakey for Gisborne and Connor Evans for Kangaroo Flat. They both won the Pat Cronin Foundation medals for the day. Kangaroo Flat, they play Castlemaine this week. And Gisborne, as I said earlier, Gisborne, they're hosting Kyneton. Kyneton might be able to go down there and take the points. Kangaroo Flat, I think they're heading over to Castlemaine. So if they gel like they have been lately, I think that they could come away with the win over at Castlemaine. Let's have a look at the highlights from that game. The last game we're going to look at is Eaglehawk versus Castlemaine at Canterbury Park. Eaglehawk winning by 166 points. It was another great day out for the two Blues. They were dominant from the first bounce. Centre clearances, Evans, Wheeler, even the Geary brothers in there. Fantastic ball movement around the ground. The guys just ran all day constantly, just never stopped. Always applying pressure. Castlemaine, they really struggled to hit targets. It was either hitting the ground just before them or it was just going to, just too far out of their reach. If they keep practicing, keep training, keep hitting them targets, you're going to find that they will get better. Watson, Philo, Byrne, McConaughey, they're great for Castlemaine. Nettleton, he had a big job against Dalgleish in Iraq. He did okay. He actually did pretty well. But Eaglehawk come out in the second half, same mindset as what they did when they started the game and just kept going and going. Hurd, Thompson, Lewin Davis, mate, he had a day out kicking 6. He kicked an absolute perler from the boundary line on 50. That didn't even look like it was going to miss. Darcy Richards kicking 4. In all, they had 14 goal scorers for the day. Trav Matheson, he's got them boys firing on all cylinders. Their 4-0 start to the season. They head to Triple M Park to play Strathfield Say this week. It's going to be a good contest, but I clearly think that Eaglehawk's going to come away with the 4 points on that one. It looks like Castlemaine's going to host Kangaroo Flat. Kangaroo Flat are starting to gel pretty well. I think Castlemaine, they just got to push themselves a little bit further. They never stop. that's one thing. Netherlands, they actually got beat by 166 points. They never stopped. They never hung their head. They never dawdled around. They kept trying to apply the pressure constantly. So, look, it's going to come for them hopefully a little bit sooner than later, but who knows? Let's have a look at the highlights from that game. So there you have it, guys. Our round 4 review done and dusted. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, hit the sub, turn on the notification bells, and like the page, and we'll keep you up to date as much as we can as what's happening with the Bendigo Football League. Thanks, guys. See you next week.